What's up? What's up? What's up? You have just tuned in to the iDads podcast. I am your host, Matt Wise. As always, I am with my co-host, who I will never be replacing, Eric Alvarez. Eric, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm super stoked. We got a really good show. We have a special guest. If you cannot see, if you're not watching us on YouTube, we got a third floating head in our screen today. Um, it's my good man, my brother. I love him so much. This guy, Eric. This guy. When my wife and I lost our daughter, this man was instrumental for me getting through that time. And so I have nothing but love and respect for this man, and I'm super happy and super excited to have him with us. Eric, iDads, all those subscribers. We have all 36 subscribers on YouTube. The millions around the world that have listened to us. I would like to introduce you our one of our guests today, Chris Parks.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
We're doing good, Chris. We're happy
Doing
to have
great.
you.
It's good to be on, man. I think you said that really nice thing about me because I told you pre-show I was going to put you on blast right out of the gate. That was a preemptive strike. Now I got to be the nice guy.
I am choosing my words carefully because worlds are colliding here on the iDads podcast with Eric and having you on. It could get crazy. So stay tuned. But Chris, I'm super excited to have you with us. Like I said, we go back a long ways, and I wanted to get an opportunity, Eric, to get an opportunity to meet you, but just to get it together and chit chat and shoot the breeze. I know that you're a father, and I've had the privilege of watching your kids grow up and grow up into incredible human beings, which hey, at the beginning there, there was a couple of them I was a little concerned about, but you pulled it out,
Shoot, there's a
brother.
couple of them I'm still concerned about.
No, you pulled it out. Your kids are amazing. Your kids have always been amazing. They've been amazing to my kids. I have nothing but respect for your family. So you've done an amazing job as a father, and I know you and your wife have done an amazing job raising your kids. So respect to you, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, our oldest is 19, and let's see. Yesterday morning, he's in another time zone, so I gotta like figure it out in my head. So he'll be 19 in a month. He just landed in New York yesterday morning, coming home from 2 months in Africa. So he hit the airport and he goes, I played out loud on my phone Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen right through the airport, walking through the airport with it on his phone. Went straight, he got a burger. I think he had a burger, a pizza, and ice cream, like all in one shot at the airport in New York during his layover coming back to Orlando. So he got after it pretty good.
There's nothing more American than a burger, pizza, and ice cream. I'll tell you that.
All at once, too. There's nothing more Parks than that, let me tell you.
As one of my good friends would say, he would call that a bang, bang, bang. That's a trifecta.
I like it. I like it. You
Eric, Eric, what would be your trifecta, brother?
Wait, burritos? I mean, what do you?
I'm not saying
tacos, burritos, enchiladas.
Tacos, burritos, enchiladas. What else?
Yeah, I'm not saying. Hey, the two white guys have weighed in on the topic. Let's hear from our token Mexican guy on what his three favorite American foods are. Nah, just what would be what's your like
pizza, man? Pizza, and that'd be the pizza and burgers. That'd be the one.
See, nothing more American than that. Doesn't matter if you're Mexican, white, or anything else.
We're being audited.
It's a bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
So, Chris, we were chatting before the show. This could get out of control quickly. And I know that Eric's drinking water over there and that. No, actually, it wasn't water. What is he drinking? He's drinking apple juice.
Apple juice.
That's how you know you're a dad. When you go in the fridge, you need something to drink, you're super thirsty, and you're like, water's not going to cut it. And you open that fridge, and all that's in there is milk and like a juice, an apple juice.
That's true. I mean, all I need is a little bit of vodka or something in it to kind of give it a little twist.
Well, we're one of those horrible families. We never really let our kids have juice. So
No juice, huh?
not really. We did little bits of juice like when they were real little, but my wife would always cut it with water, and I was sort of offended for our kids that she did that. But what am I going to do? I'm only dad, So
I just the other day we were at the flea market and I saw, it was a 3-year-old with a bottle full of Coca-Cola.
Shut up, really?
Just straight up drinking
Dang.
Coke from a bottle. It's
Like a baby
wow.
bottle?
Like a baby bottle.
Wow.
And I was
that's
like,
crazy.
I was telling my wife, look at that. Look, she's drinking Coke. That's got to be Coke. What other color could that be? I mean, it's got to be Coke. And yeah, you could see her when she started pouring it into the bottle.
I can't judge.
Rancid breast milk.
I can't judge. I can't judge at all. I'm the dad that has been known to feed his kids cookies for breakfast. So I'm not going to judge soda in the baby bottle, but I just took my son to Five Guys we just did a little dudes trip because we got baseball coming up for him, tryouts, and so we went out to go get some sporting stuff, and I took him out to Five Guys to get a burger because nothing more American than a burger, maybe a hot dog, I don't know, but a burger. Five Guys,
baseball, baby.
Burger and baseball, hot dog and baseball. Took him Five Guys, and I go, hey, what do you want to drink? Do you want? And I'm like, do you want a soda? I go, hey, you want a milkshake? And I started reading all the milkshakes, and he looks at me, he's like, water.
I'm
like, dude, this guy. I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm gonna get the milkshake. We'll get you a water, little guy. So we were on the show pre-show, and we were kind of talking. We were gassing on each other for our backgrounds. As you can see, my background has a woman's touch. Eric over there, Eric's background is very neutral. And Chris, and now I think Eric froze over there on us.
He did freeze.
Chris's background is very, very manly.
Not much neutral about my background, is there?
No, and for those that aren't watching us on YouTube, he's got a background. It's a beautiful wood paneling background. And then he's got a Harley Davidson metal, tin thing. And then on the other side, he's got a Glock pistol. So definitely more manly than my background, which has got a bunch of Easter stuff.
Yeah, but you got like Scrabble in the background and everything,
I do,
very cute.
but now I'm wondering if now that Eric's back with us, if his background, which is the neutral background, isn't the one of choice.
It's all neutral over here. Look, nothing.
I was telling her if I just tilt my camera just a little bit over there, look, I got bunnies. I got Easter bunnies back there.
You guys are so manly, dude. You're so man. All right, I gotta ask. So, Matt, I know how old your kids. Eric, how old are your kids? You got little kids, like under 10?
Yes, I have a 9-year-old girl and a 3-year-old as well, and then probably, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so my kids are all older. I got 4 kids. My youngest is 11. So, I could be, if my oldest has his first child the same age I had mine, I could be a grandpa in like 5 years.
That's
grandpa
crazy.
In 5 years. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a trip. So the stage of life that you guys are in as dads, man, is freaking awesome. I miss Little League so much. I got right here in my garage on this shelf, I have, it's not my garage. It's the Simple Man Project studio headquarters. Right there off the shelf in my garage is my umpire bag. I got all my umpire gear for Little League. And
so you're still, your kids are out of Little League. You're still putting some time in over there.
Last year, so I reconnected with a buddy of mine who we umpired a lot. We were doing majors up through high school age together, and we were having a ton of fun. So I hit him up last year about this time, and I said, let's do some games. And then COVID shut the whole thing down. So it's been a couple of years since I have, but yeah, I still got all my gear. I need to get my portly little bum out there and get some exercise.
That's awesome. Eric, do you see what we have? We still have. I mean, you see that he's a stage above us, right? He's the next level, and we still got a lot of work to do, man.
So we're here trying to.
When you guys get to my stage, you can have cool signs in your background. You don't have to have picture buttons.
That's how you know his
put a
kids
candle.
are older.
Let's put a
There
candle
you go.
in the background.
That's how you know his kids are older. He could afford a nice background like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
old age,
Well, when you
put 'em-
guys
put 'em
get
to
the
work.
chance, when you guys get the chance to come and tour the world infamous Simple Man Project headquarters, I'll show you how I built it.
Speaking of the Simple Man Project, we did want to have you on and talk to you about that. And we were kind of making fun of the backgrounds and talking about the different stages of life of being a dad. You've started this project, the Simple Man Project. I'll shout out the website, simplemanproject.com. Go on there, check out some of Chris's videos. But you have actually, I've watched a couple of those videos, and Eric has, and you touch on some deep subjects, some very important subjects for guys specifically. But you touch on some pretty deep stuff. Kind of tell me what you're trying to do over there and what that's all about. What's your mission?
So for me, I grew up in the Bay Area, very how do I say this the politically correct way? Very left leaning, very liberal minded, very whatever, right? Which is cool. Do your thing. I'm not even into the political thing that much, right? I mean, I got my own views like everybody. But what we're seeing in our modern society is this redefining of what manhood really looks like. And so, it used to be when I was a kid, when I was a little kid in the 80s. You guys probably weren't even born till the 90s, right? But I was a little kid in the 80s.
I claim the 80s. I'm 83 baby. How dare you?
Oh, 80. Oh, you're older than I thought you were. Okay. Well,
look at all this gray.
82.
Just because both of you guys, look at Eric over there. That beard is beautiful. Chris, you've always had a beautiful mane. And look, I'm at the age where I grow a good beard, and you can't even see it. It's all gray. So how dare you? I'm an 83 baby.
Who told you you're growing a good beard?
I did when I look in the mirror. And with this hat, I'm an 8.5, sir. Thank you very much.
That's funny. But when I was a little kid, man, I remember watching like Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and like the definition of masculinity was to be ripped. You guys ever see that old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 80s, Commando? And right in the beginning of the movie, he's got like 2 giant redwoods, and he's just walking through the forest with 2,000-pound logs on his shoulders. And that was kind of like what I grew up feeling like I needed to be, right? So as soon as I was old enough, I hit the weight room, and I mean, it doesn't help that I'm like 5'5", so I was never going to get there.
5'2".
That's not true. When I put my boots on, I'm 5'5" and a half. So, that's kind of what I grew up with, right? But even like today, that's totally changed. And now you got dudes wearing dresses. I forget his name now. There was some celebrity dude who just posed for like GQ or one of those magazines wearing dresses, and Gucci and Armani and all these designers. They're actually making dresses for dudes. And it's not like, I'm not talking about like a Scottish kilt, like a cultural thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a dress, dude. It looks like something that came out of my wife's closet. And all of this stuff in society is telling us that we should be more like women, that we shouldn't be aggressive, we shouldn't be assertive, we shouldn't be protectors, all these kinds of things. But it's built into us. We're designed that way, right? So Eric, I don't know where you're at with this, but I'm a man of faith. That's how Matt and I know each other. And so everything in my life is filtered through that lens. And so I believe that we were built intentionally on purpose, and we were built for a reason. And so those manly characteristics that are built into us, like aggression and whatnot, we have 3 boys. And so when our boys started wrestling on the floor, I jumped in with them. I didn't tell them to quit, right? We empowered those types of behaviors and that intrinsic character trait that they had, because I want to develop that. and get them to a point in their lives where they can harness that for good. And it doesn't spin all out of control, right? But we harness that for good, and in proper balance, when we're acting as the men that God created us to be, that's when we will accomplish the greatest things in our lives. And I feel like we've really lost that in society, and we need somebody to be able to look people in the eye and go, hey, I'm a man and I want to be a man, and women are amazing and awesome, but I don't want to be a woman. I'm not built to be a woman. So I'm going to be a man, and you should be okay being a man too.
You know, and in society right now, it's, you know, it's really hard, um, you know, to be a man, you know, a manly man, or, you know, you know, it is frowned upon. I mean, you know, for me, because I try to be very, very aware of, you know, the opposite sex or of women. And, you know, when I'm walking down the street and I see someone, a woman coming down the street, I try to move over to show common courtesy and respect, you know, but I would do that anyway, right? I would do that for anyone. Um, but I'm just like so super aware of it as a man, because I don't want to like offend someone and I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But at what point am I, you know, am I not just being true to myself too, like, and who I am and how I am created? Like, I am created to, uh, you know, I'm designed differently. I like sports. I like, you know, watching sports and participating in sports. And my wife she doesn't. I mean, she's learned to like it because I enjoy it, but she doesn't like it, and that's okay. And I love that, you know, we as men and as dads is we could be ourselves and we could be different. You know, we don't have to be manly men, you know, that that you know, carry guns and redwood trees like Chris was talking about. You know, we could be men that are in touch with our feminine side, or that are in touch with our emotions and that show emotions, and that are patient. You know, I mean, it's all different kind. And I know for Eric, for you, it's, you know, something that we talk about, you know, being dads and being men, and for you it's a little more difficult because you're surrounded in a house of women.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, also the other thing is growing up, you know, in the Mexican culture, and a lot of with my family as well. There's this machismo thing. Right now in Mexico, there's a battle between the machismo and, you know, what Chris was talking about. You know, is the feminine side. The feminists are trying to take over. They're trying to kind of battle that out as well too. And I have both worlds pretty much, you know. So I have a household full of women, but I also have this uncle side, tough Mexican guys. You know, they hammer you down, tell you, you know, you got to be tough, you got to be the man, the head of the household, be the tough guy. You know, sometimes there's a borderline with that too as well in the Mexican culture, because I mean, I've seen some of my uncles, I mean, they would treat their wives, you know, pretty badly, you know. And that's kind of where we want to find that common ground too as well, that I think, you know, because I don't want to, I know that what they were doing is not right, so I got to find that common ground. And that's kind of where with my two girls, I'm learning as we go, to make sure that I don't put too much of the machismo, the you know, the toughness on these girls. Two, I guess the wife will probably crack the whip on me and put me back in place. But, you know, sometimes it does come out, you know, and I try to, you know, flex a little, but, you know, there's just got to be a balance. And that's kind of where I'm working with our culture, plus a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now on TV as well. You know.
Yeah, it's really a difficult thing to balance, right? And what's really scary is the thought, and so we all have daughters, right?
Yep.
So our daughters are watching us. They're watching how we treat their moms to know how their future husband should treat them,
Correct.
right? So the bar, there's the bar again. It's going up again, right? For being a great dad. And then we look at our sons. Our sons are looking at us to see how they do everything in life, right? And so, what kind of man do I want my three sons to become? Well, I have to model that for them. so that they have an example and they have somebody that they can follow. So striking the right balance is really hard. And I think that you guys have already touched on it there's this side, right? Like Eric, you were talking about that Mexican machismo culture thing.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about this really feminist approach to things. We need to be somewhere in the middle, and like what you said, Matt, there's some guys that they don't know what a crescent wrench looks like. You know what I mean? If you sent them to a bucket full of crescent wrenches, they wouldn't be able to find a crescent wrench, and that's all right. You don't have to be like a master mechanic to be a man, right? But maybe they're great at building websites or whatever is that expression. I think that we get too locked in on one definition or the other, and that's where we get really out of whack and really healthy. You guys had mentioned, I think, hopefully I get his name right, Dan Pena.
Dan Pena, yes.
Dan Pena. I'd never heard of him before some of our chat yesterday. I looked him up and whoa, man, that guy's over the top, bro.
Over the top.
Yeah, I don't disagree with some of the things. I watched some of his stuff, and I don't disagree with some of the things he said. That idea that there's a lot of men out there that if somebody spit in my wife's face, a lot of guys wouldn't do anything about it. Unfortunately, I agree. That's my experience too. I think we've got a society full of wimps growing up right now. Because we've allowed society to beat down the definition of masculinity. And for me, it's really striking the right balance that I'm a super mellow, relaxed guy. I like to joke and have a good time. I like to go shoot some paper. I like to go ride my bike. I like to drink a couple of beers. I love to hang out with my kids and eat popcorn. I had tea parties with my daughter when she was little. I mean, you name it, all of it, did all of that stuff. But when the time comes that protective instinct needs to come out, guess what? The mean Chris comes out, right? And it's got to be that way.
All 5'2" of them.
All 5'5.5", baby. I want my 3.5 inches.
I've seen Mean Chris. It's not that bad. No.
It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. But I'll tell you what, we were downtown a year and a half ago on our anniversary, about 6 months before COVID. And we went and had a nice dinner, and we went to a club and saw some jazz and had a drink, whatever. And so we're roaming around downtown San Jose like 10:30 at night. And I'm constantly, holding my wife's hand, walking down the street, and I'm constantly pulling her and moving her to this side on the sidewalk, right? And then a few minutes later, I'm moving her back over here. And she figured out early on in our marriage, when I do that, what I'm doing. What I'm doing is if she's on this side and I see a threat up the road while we're walking, I'm putting her over here.
Absolutely.
Right.
And as I've done that when, even dating my wife, just, walking in a restaurant, and you walk in a restaurant, I'm always observant of every single person in that restaurant. And as a man, the first thing I'm honestly doing, okay, who's a threat? Who in here, if things get out of hand, do I need to take out first? And then I could worry about the rest, right? Or whatever, or who's, or what are the risks, or what are the dangers, of going in, into these places or into wherever. Because
you live in San Jose, that's why. Watch your back. That's why. You grew
I'm
up.
not worried. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. But
guys from Campbell, what are you talking about? San Jose? He lives in Campbell.
Whoa, buddy, yeah. Seatown, Campbell. You know what? That's right. You got to be careful where you go. Some places here in Campbell, downtown Campbell can get sketched certain hours.
Watch out. That dude might hit you with his purse.
Exactly. Watch out. You might get a ponytail in the eyeball or something. And that's from the dudes, not even the chicks' ponytails. That's a dude's ponytail, which nothing wrong with that. But
so an angry 5 foot guy is gonna be out there.
So when I walk in that restaurant, I see Chris in there. I go, okay, that guy I could save for last.
Yeah, that's cool.
But Eric, I walk in there and I see you, and I'm like, ooh, he's gonna be like probably the third or fourth one I'm gonna have to take out.
It's probably the beard on.
But that's only because you got 7 inches on.
I want to ask Chris. I want to ask Chris. Is Matt talking about my beard? Is that masculine? Is that
I,
something we should be comfortable with?
it depends. It depends, man, on how if you guys are in person and he's stroking it for you, you might want to make
Okay.
a run for it.
That's a
All right.
different
That's
conversation.
different.
But
That
I
might
do want
be.
to be encouraging to other dads, you know.
Yeah,
Just
it's
because
manly to be encouraging.
my beard's not great, but I mean that's what dads should be. That's what guys should be sitting around talking about, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Like there shouldn't be a podcast of women that are complimenting each other's beards.
That would be a problem.
I mean, I listen, if there was one out there and someone wanted to do that and that was their thing, that's cool. But like that's typically a dude conversation, right?
Or a French conversation too.
Well,
You know?
that's
Hey, my
armpits.
wife's French.
Oh, that's armpit.
That's
Sorry.
armpits.
Hey,
That's armpits.
while we're being encouraging, I want to encourage you, Matt, to shave your beard off.
I I would have, but my wife told me not to. So
well, all right then.
I will side with my wife on this one. There's some
Good-
things
good
as
call,
a
good
man.
call.
There's some things as a man where I will, or as a husband, where, and that's something I kind of want to talk about with you guys. Is there's some things as a husband where I'll be really firm and with my wife, kind of the term "put my foot down," right? And I don't do it a lot at all. But there are those times where I'll say, "Hey, listen, I know this is how you feel, or this is what you want, but right now I really feel we need to do this." Um, those are difficult conversations to have at times, but I think as a husband, as a dad, I think there are times where we need to have those conversations and we need to make those stands, and those are it's not popular,
No.
you know. And there's times when I do have those conversations with my wife where I'll remind her, like, I want to have this conversation. I just want to have it as your husband, you know, nothing else. How do you guys juggle those conversations when you have to have them?
I mean, for me, Matt, it's a little difficult for me as well. Just communicating to the wife. As the alpha male, as the head of the household, you see the family in a different direction. You see the threats. You see what you need to get done. You need to put your foot down. The wife wants to go out, shopping. You need to do some stuff around the house, like fix a leaky pipe. There's other things that as a man you need to get done, and you need to create that time, that balance with the family, going out and doing stuff. Sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, look, this is the direction we're going. This is what we're going to do today. The wife kind of has a little mind of her own, and she wants to go out, do this, do that, and let's and just the day goes by without really accomplishing anything, and then the work week starts, and then that's kind of when everything that we delayed over the weekend that we could have gotten done just kind of snowballs, and that's where we start having issues with communication with the kids and everything. So I like to plan my Sundays are the days that I plan for my week, and she's more like, it's family day. Let's go to the park. Let's just do something. And I like that too as well, but there's certain things that need to get done before we get the work week ready.
Yeah, and I think, Matt, you even touched on what's been a key for our marriage. So we've been married more than 20 years, and
Thanks to me.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we were throwing a football, I think, when I met my wife for the very first time.
Funny story is before Chris gets into this, is I was actually trying to hit on Chris's wife before.
You never had a shot, by the way.
And I did not. She was like 2 years older than me, and it wouldn't have mattered how many years older than she was. Like, I didn't have a shot. But I was doing my darndest, and I was spitting my game, and it didn't work. So I introduced Chris to her, and look, at 20 years, here we are. And what have you learned, Chris? How do you have those difficult conversations?
Do you remember, before we get into that, do you remember her reaction when you introduced me from the other side of the lawn? She looked at me and went, and walked right into church.
I think she said, "Where's the rest?"
Yeah, she did.
Where's the two logs on his shoulder?
Oh, dude.
Well, she is tall. She was taller than I was, even though she was older than me. So she was taller. So, she's probably looking at Chris like, "Oh man, it's like a little snack."
Yeah.
She's a little appetizer.
Yeah, I tell my sons all the time when they get something off the top shelf, I tell them you're welcome. And they go, for what? We didn't get our height from you. I said, yeah, but I had the stones to marry a taller woman.
Yeah.
So,
So you're
you
welcome.
know, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, what's worked really well for us, and you said it, Matt, was that you try not to do it very often, right? Those moments where you just say flat out, we ain't doing that, right? Or we are doing this, or it's got to go this way, by picking and choosing your battles, right? Then that's how our wives know that we're serious about it. And in that moment, it needs to go that way, because you don't abuse that authority, that power, right? Which is something like that Dan Pena guy. I mean, I listened to him for 10 or 15 minutes, and I wanted to just punch him in the throat. Not that I disagreed with everything he said, but he's just so overbearing. The thought of being around that guy was horrible. So there is that balance that we talked about earlier, right? Where you try to strike the balance between being a pansy and being Dan Pena, this way over the top macho man guy. Somewhere in the middle is that balance point, and that's the case for our wives too, right? To have conversations and compromises that say, okay, well, listen, here's what I need on Sunday, and here's what you're looking for. How can we find something that works, right? So my wife and I, when we were first married, we had little kids. She ran a daycare from our home so that she could have our kids at home with her, right? So I would go off to work, and I'm a super heavy introvert. So when I get through the workday, talking on the phone, dealing with problems, whatever else, when I get home, I'm ready to shut it down for a little while.
So after
Right?
this podcast, that means Chris is going to take a 2-hour nap.
Dude, I'm gonna go rock back and forth in the fetal position in the dark corner somewhere. I mean, that's the way it's gonna go.
But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. So I would get home from work, and she had been starved for adult conversation. Now my wife is a super heavy extrovert, so the adult conversation fills her up. It energizes her. It wears me out, right? If I get too much of it. So I would come home from work ready to introvert for a little bit, and she would literally meet me at the door. My key would not go in the lock. She would open the door, and she's going. She's going, telling me about her day, and I'm completely overwhelmed, right? So then we get in a couple arguments, right, over this whole thing. And that we finally sat down one night, and I said, listen, this is how I feel when I get home. How do you feel when I get home? And then she told me, like, I'm dying for adult conversation. And I said, I'm dying for peace and quiet. So I said, how about this? When I get home, I'm going to give you a hug and a kiss, tell you I love you. I'm going to find the kids, say hi to them. And then I'm going to go to the bedroom for 15 minutes, 15 minutes tops, and just recoup. And then when I come out, I'm all yours the rest of the night, whatever you need, whatever conversations you want to have. But if I could just get that 10 or 15 minutes to recharge, then everything will work out a lot better for the family. She agreed to that. And so just having a good, honest conversation, right, without judgment, just sharing how I feel, how she feels. We found a good compromise, and it's worked for the last 16 or 18 years that we've been doing that kind of thing. So little compromises, conversations will really help you get in a good, healthy rhythm.
And balance. That was kind of been the theme of everything we've touched on today, is just that balance. Even with my kids, is the balance, because I don't need to yell at them every single time they're
Right.
doing something to get their attention. If I have just, conversations with them as they're doing, like, hey, please don't do that. Hey, can you pick that up? Hey, can and that. And then when I'm like, when I do yell, there's actually a little more impact, to it. And they go, oh, hey, we need to do whatever dad's saying right now because it's serious. But it is the balance, because I've been at those points, even in talking to my wife in the marriage, where it's like, where I've been more like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. And it's like, oh, maybe I should not so much. Maybe this is just too much.
Yeah. And there's seasons too, right, where it's just got to go. It's got to be a certain way, and things are happening fast, and you just got to make decisions, and you got to plow through it. And then there's seasons of life too, where you have lots of time to make a decision, and you can hear from her. And when your kids get older, when you guys have teenagers, you're going to end up having conversations like, well, this affects their life, and they're intelligent people. So I need to find out what they think about doing this kind of thing, what they think about this sort of vacation, or what they think about, taking this approach in life, or what would it look like if we changed churches, or if we changed schools, or, whatever. Then you guys will get to that point too, where you're having to have those conversations with your kids too.
Which is a bummer for Eric, because he's always going to have to go, what do these three women want? And then what do I want? Well, it's two completely different things, right, Eric?
Exactly.
You want to go to I want to go to Vegas, go to MMA fights, right?
Yes.
And your wife's like, no, we want to go to Disneyland. And the kids,
Disney on
hey, we
Ice.
want to go to
Disney
Disneyland.
on
You're like,
Ice.
right, Eric?
Yeah, Disney on Ice.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
I definitely.
that's a built-in conversation right there, though, bro. I mean, that's easy. Hey, I need some masculine output in my life. So, guys trip, we're going to Vegas. When are we going?
I don't know. Vegas isn't as exciting. I was thinking about it. We was talking to my wife, Liz. I was telling Eric, this year is a huge year for my wife and I, mainly more for my wife. So, which means I got to be on my A game, because it's our 15-year wedding anniversary in June. And then in August, she turns 40. So, so we were talking about Vegas, but then I was like, someone was like, well, what are you going to do there? And I was like, that's a good question. Like, I'm not 20 anymore. Like, whatever I do there, I'm only going to be able to really give it one full day of my effort and energy before
2-3 days of recovery.
Right. Yeah. And then I'm going to need a week off to recover. I'm not that, I don't live that life anymore. So,
and I was gonna invite you for fight night. I mean, there's gonna be Canelo fighting in May again, so I mean,
depends on what kind of tacos he eats this time.
We're gonna have he just fought last night and won.
Knocked him out.
Knocked him out. So yeah, we're all planning, the guys here with my brother-in-law and some nephews. We're like, hey, let's plan to go to Vegas, just the guys. But the wife already looked at me like, gave me the eye look, that's saying, no, you better not say you're going to Vegas.
And that's when you say, honey, I don't do this very often, but this is one of those times where I need to put my foot down as a husband. And
maybe we should record it when I ask her.
Yeah, maybe not lead that. Maybe not lead with that. Then put my foot down this time.
Right.
If you need advice on how to have those difficult conversations, call Chris Parks.
Actually, before Chris, I have a really tough question for you. Hopefully you can, I have 2 daughters, and there's a lot, I want to get her into sports and stuff like that. But the tough question I want to ask you is, what do you think of transgender going into the women's, sports?
Yeah, what do I think about my daughter having to compete against a male in sports? I think it's a bunch of crap.
Okay.
Listen, do your thing, right? I mean, if you're born a man and you want to be a woman, if you want to be lesbian, gay, transgender, LGBTQ, the whole bit, do your thing, man. I'll even be your friend, right?
Yeah.
But don't put me or my family in the position of, one, feeling guilty because we may or may not agree with your lifestyle. I'm always going to be nice. I'm always going to treat you with respect. I'll be your friend. If you need help, man, I'm there for you, right? But don't force your beliefs on me. So this is a really funny thing, right? A lot of the argument that you get in that in those realms, right? We talked a little bit earlier about we didn't really use the term, but cancel culture, right? We talked a little bit about people forcing their definitions of masculinity on everyone else, and people will say, well, don't tell me how I'm supposed to live my life. But it's a suicide argument. What they call in debating is a suicide argument, because they're literally doing what they told me not to do to them. They're telling me how to live my life by telling me that I shouldn't share my views with anybody else. So logically, it doesn't even make sense, right, that they would do that. So you end up with all these people who try to make you feel guilty. My wife told me yesterday, they're trying to delete the movie Grease from the history books, because there's no LGBTQ representation in this movie from the 70s. Okay. It's just stupid. It's stupid. All right. I mean, that's, if I was to say there's no short, chubby white guys in your movie, so you have to take it off the market. I mean, would anybody support that? Does that even make sense? It doesn't make any sense at all. So love you, LGBTQ community. Do your thing. I'll be your friend. I'll be your neighbor. I'm not against you, but I am against you forcing me to believe everything that you say I should believe. And that includes transgender people participating in sports, because whether you want to admit it or not, the scientific truth is that as men, we have more testosterone, we have more muscle mass, we tend to have leaner bodies. And so we are therefore much more gifted athletically when it comes to sports. And so if you plugged Caitlyn Jenner in to compete against women, they would win. He would win every time. A few years ago, there was it was one of the Williams sisters. I think it was Serena Williams, and she top ranked female tennis player in the world, right? I mean, as good as it gets. Yeah, totally, 100%. And she had sort of popped off and said something about she could beat a man, kind of a thing. And so this no-name guy who was like I think she said that she could beat someone not ranked in the top 100 male tennis players. It was something like that, something along those lines. So the guy who was 101st played her, smoked her, 3 straight sets. She didn't win, not even a set. So I mean, think about it. It's just men are just physically more gifted than women are. Now, there's plenty of people out there that are going to say, well, if you put me in the octagon with Gina Carano, I'm going to get my butt kicked. And I would really.
I'm going to have a blast.
I would enjoy that blog.
That sounds like a good time.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I was actually looking forward to looking at women's sports now, with having the transgender. Maybe some interesting, good plays are going to be happening. But
well, here's the solution to it, right? Because I come from, I'm in the position where it's like, where Chris is like, I do whatever you want. Like if whatever you think makes you happy, like go for it. But here's the solution. Like, I don't want to see transgender, combat athletes beating up female combat athletes.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to see that. So there needs to be a division. So now you have, a transgender division in MMA, or you have a transgender basketball league or whatever, which, that's the solution, right? That solves everything. And it really solves the debate, because I really don't think there should be much of a debate of whether, they should compete against each other. And I also firmly believe there's tons of female athletes that are way better than men at any particular sport, right? So like Chris said, I couldn't get in a ring with anyone in MMA. I'd get demolished. I couldn't play tennis against Serena Williams. I'd get demolished. I couldn't do those things. So I think it would be fun, though. I think it would be fun to see a division, men versus women, in certain sporting events. I think that would be kind of cool. Definitely not combat sports. I don't think that would be one of them, but man, that's Eric's asking the hard hitters. I think Eric thinks that this podcast is like CNN or something.
CNN or no, I was just trying to clarify if we're going to go to the park and play basketball, if you're going to take your skirt with you, or what are you going to be wearing?
Well, I'll tell you what I'll definitely bring. I'll definitely bring my game. And I'll definitely put it down. So hey, listen, I'll throw it on our social media. We'll do an iDads basketball game. And I know Chris Parks will be there because he's a man.
Let's do it.
And when you challenge a man like Chris Parks, he does not back down.
Oh, that's not true.
It doesn't matter how short he is
or how high the basketball court is.
That's it.
I've played basketball with Chris, and despite his size, he does not let that stop him from being the most tenacious person on that court.
Awesome.
So I'm like Charles Barkley and Bill Laimbeer all rolled into one.
I thought Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, him too, man. I'm freaking nasty. I'll cut your legs out. That's all I got. So
Awesome.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate you coming on the show today. Um,
Thanks,
I,
Chris. Thank you.
I
yeah,
appreciate
thanks
you
for having me
chopping
on,
up
guys.
with us. I appreciate you coming on the iDads podcast and having a more manly background than either one of us.
Well, I
So,
got to set the example for you guys. You guys are younger. I'm the older guy. I got to set the example for you. So I
well,
expect better next week from you guys then.
you're right. We are just young bucks, and you are up. You're a couple divisions above us, and so listen, iDad listeners, iDad fans, go check out Chris. Go check out his website, simplemanproject.com. It's spelled just like it sounds. Go check it out. Check out some of his videos, share some of his content, throw a comment in there. Um, Support him because I'm telling you, it is good content. It's good stuff. It's stuff that it's good reminders, good things that we all kind of need. And we're all about being here and helping one another out, helping dads out, helping husbands out, helping dads to be, helping moms out. It doesn't matter. I want this to be a place that's safe for everyone to come and just have a good time, have a conversation, and get some good information and from one another and share with one another. So a nice community. Chris has got a good community going on over there. Simplemanproject.com. Check them out. Chris, again, thank you for coming, brother.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Chris.
thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's good times.
Eric, we did it. We got another one in the books. Listen, Eric's got that big old smile. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Eric?
It's just I'm picturing the you going to the basketball court with it, having a separate division. You just kind of just forget it.
Hey, Eric, we didn't ask him which division he was going to be in, though.
Exactly right.
Hey, I would be like that Juana man.
Juana.
I'd dress up like a chick and I would dominate. I would start dunking all of a sudden in a dress. So, hey, listen, folks, we appreciate you watching us. Please hit that comment button, the like button, subscribe button, hit any button that's on the page. Just hit it. Watch the next video button, whatever it is, subscribe. You've tuned into the iDads podcast. We appreciate you. We love you. Peace.